All right, we're going to make our handlebars. We're going to start our basic part, and we're going to start with a sketch. We're going to put it on the front view on the XY plane. And as I do that, I'm going to press down the wheel of a mouse and I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to start by taking a line. I'm going to draw that line from here up. I want to go 3.5 inches. And so I'm going to have to zoom out again, and then I'm going to change it. Instead of using a line, I'm pressing down with the wheel of my mouse to move it. I'm going to switch over to use an arc. And so that arc is going to come up and over, and I'm not going to worry about putting a dimension on it at all. And I can see I did not get that coincidence. So I'm going to put a coincident constraint to make sure those points line up, that and this. And then I'm going to come to this other end and I'm going to draw a 6-inch line from coincident with this, going straight across 6 inches. And the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to put a tangent constraint. Tangent means this arc right here, if it continued to make a full circle, if I touch this, notice how it smooths it out. If that continued to go around and make a complete circle and that line extended, they would touch at that one point and that one point only. I'm going to do the same thing right here. So if you look at it, you can see it smoothed out my curve or my arc just really well. I need to put a dimension on that arc now that I've done this, and I'm going to make that have a 3-inch radius. The next thing I need to do is put a line, and I want it to be a construction line. This is your construction constraint right here. And I'm going to go from here, and I just want to go horizontal a little ways. And if I zoom in, you can see that that is, when I hit escape, you can see that is a dotted line. It's just used for a guideline. I'm going to use it to put an angle constraint right here to here. And let me put an angle constraint from here to here and pull it out. And I want that to be 45 degrees. All right, now I'm finished with that sketch. So what I need to do now is I'm going to come and I'm going to put a plane on the end of this, very much like we did earlier. It needs to be perpendicular, so I'm going to click it right there. And then I'm going to start a sketch on that plane. So I click Start Sketch, I click the edge of the plane. You can see if I tilt this down, basically I've got the sketch right here. Always project your geometry. So that end point, I want to project the geometry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that end point as the center of my circle. And I'm going to again make my 2-inch circle. And then make the same 1.75 inside circle. So they're concentric. They share the same center. And now we're going to finish that sketch and use a new feature called sweep. So sweep is similar to extrude and loft in that it adds material. We're going to, what you do is you pick a closed profile. I'm going to pick this circle, the wall basically, and I need to sweep it along a path. So you tell it, where do you want it to go? So I'm going to sweep that along there, and I say okay. And if I go home, you can see there is my beginning for my handlebars. The next thing that I need to do is put an axis, a work axis, on this through the center of this. So I click axis up here, and then I click the cylinder, and you can see it puts this yellow axis through here. If I hover over it, it turns red. That axis, if I look at the the right side, basically that axis is right here. It is, well, you almost can't see it there. You're looking square on at it. So I'm going to hit the home button again. You can see it much better there. Once I have done that sweep, I need to put a plane on this axis so that it will be vertical through our part. So I'm going to tell it plane, and I need to expand here in the browser bar by origin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want it to go through this axis, and I need to figure out which plane it is. I want it to be the one that is vertical through it right there. And so I'm going to click, and I'll be honest, I don't know why they have it default to make it turn 90 degrees. If I pick that plane, I want it to be that plane. So you tell it 0 degrees. And if you look at it, you can see that plane is going through the center of your part. It is bisecting your part. Once you pick that plane, we're going to use that to help us put some rubber handles, rubber grips on our part, on our handlebars. What we're going to do is we're going to put a sketch on this plane, and I need to be able to work from the inside of it. So there's a hotkey called, or shortcut key, F7. And when you click F7, it makes the front half of the part, which is in front of your sketch and in front of your plane, temporarily disappear. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to project the geometry so that we can work on this sketch. I want to project this line, and I want to project this entire line. And I did not let it catch this. It needed to catch that entire yellow line from top to bottom. Our next step is to draw a line, and we're going to take that line from the midpoint right here. We're going to go out 1/4 inch, go directly vertical 1.25 inches, and then we're going to come over back this direction 5.25 inches, and that needs to be, well, I'll go ahead and hit enter, but that should be a horizontal line. Now we're going to come back down and connect that with our line right here. So that was our projected line. We now have a closed loop that's an L shape that we can use to revolve. But first we're going to do a little more work on this sketch. We're going to fillet. A fillet basically rounds off a sharp corner, and we're going to use a 1/8 inch or 0.125 inch fillet. So I'm going to click this corner, and basically you can see what it does is it puts on some tangent constraints, and I'm going to click that corner. Those tangent constraints are showing. We can actually take those off if we need to in a little bit, but we're not going to. I'm just going to leave them on there because I want you to get used to that symbol. That is tangent. It makes a round edge and a straight line very smooth. Very important feature. You use tangent in your geometry classes a lot as well. The next thing that we're going to actually do, I'm going to zoom in for. I'm going to draw 2 lines, and I'm going to just draw kind of a V here. And I'm going to draw any old V. I unfortunately made that perpendicular, and I do not want them perpendicular. So I'm going to hit delete for that, and I am going to draw it again. And I'm going to make sure that I'm on the coincident on that line, but I'm not perpendicular. Now I want to make those equal. So here and here, I'm going to dimension the depth. How deep is that little V? And it's 0.05 for that depth. And how wide is that little V? I'm going to use this V to make a groove in just a moment. So from this point to this point is 0.25. I'm going to move that by dimensioning it. I want to go that edge of the V right here to the center point here. I want that to be 1/10 of an inch, 0.1. And so you can see I've got 1/10 of an inch from the center point. I've got my V with equal legs for my triangle here, an isosceles triangle, and the base of that triangle would be 0.25, and the height would be 0.05. And that is all of the sketching that I need to do on this actual portion of the grip. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish our sketch, and we're going to actually use the revolve feature. So when you revolve, you choose a profile. It has to be a closed loop. So I'm going to choose this L, but you have to be real careful. You can see it did not pick this. And I do, on my initial revolve, want it to be the entire surface. So I've highlighted all of that. You have to then click Axis, and over here, click your axis, and you can see it actually revolves for you. So I'm going to say OK. Now, I need to cut my groove because I'm going to put some grips on my handlebar rubber pad here. And so I want to use that sketch. I did all the hard work already, so I'm going to right click and share this sketch. That makes it to where I can use it again. So I'm going to revolve once more, but this time instead of additive, I'm going to use subtractive process. I'm going to subtract that V, and if you just hover over this, you can actually see it. I'll zoom in and you can see. So I'm going to choose that V. I'm going to zoom back out. And as before, you have to tell it which axis, what do you want to revolve around. I want to revolve around that, and I want it to be a cut. So when I do, I now have, and I'll click home, I'll click front. You can see there is the V, and it is 1/10 of an inch away from the edge of the fillet. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually use another new feature. We're going to use rectangular pattern. And that is the reason I chose to not extrude with that already there. I want to tell it, hey, I want to choose this feature. So I'm going to zoom in on that. You can also click it in the browser bar over here. And I have to tell it what direction I'm going to go. So the direction I want to go, I'm going to click this axis. I don't want to go that way. I want to go the other direction. So I'm going to flip it. And you can see, I did that. I want to flip it and go that direction. This would make it symmetrical. You go half and half each direction. I want to go the opposite way, and I want to have 14 of those, but I want them to be 0.35 apart. 0.35, 35 hundredths. And I will say OK. And what that's going to do is it cuts grooves, and you can zoom in and you can see it. It cuts those grooves all the way down. It makes it look really cool, but we're just getting started. We're going to now cut some more in a different direction. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put a sketch on the end of my part here, on the end of the handlebars, and I'm going to zoom in really tight, and I want to project the geometry. So I'm going to project the geometry for this outside line. You can see that it turned yellow. If you accidentally double click it, it will turn pink. So highlight it one more time and then hit your delete button and delete one of those, and it should turn, or you have to get off of project geometry, and then highlight it and hit the delete button, and it should be yellow. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in some more. I'm going to cut another groove, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a V, and I'm going to have it go from here to, this is should be at the midpoint, and I'm going to pick a spot here. I want to make those two equal. So they are now equal, and I want to make, again, same as before, I want the distance from here to the top of my circle, and I need to project the geometry for, let's see, I need to get it to put a point. I'm going to have to put a point, this point right here, on the edge of this circle right here. And now I'm going to dimension from this point to that point, and I want that to be 0.05, just like the last one was. And the next thing I want to do is dimension what is the distance across here. So I'm going to say dimension from here to here, and as before I want that to be 0.25. And I'm going to try this. I want to finish my sketch. If that made a closed loop, I would be able to extrude a cut, and it would let me come here and choose the, oh, and it did. All right, it let me choose it this time. I want to go that distance, and I want to go all of the way through. If yours will not let you actually choose your little triangle, then I'll show you what you can do. I'm going to say okay, and that cuts, I'll call it a ditch or whatever you would like. It cuts this little right through here, that little area. I'm going to go back to that sketch. If yours will not let you choose the triangle, it's because you don't have a closed loop. So you can force it to be closed. One thing you can do is to take it and go from here and go up and over and down, and then basically you've got a pentagon, and you could actually take an arc. You just want anything that's going to close it up, that's going to let you pick this. If I try to say finish that and I share my sketch again, if I try to extrude now, what I would be able to do is come here, and I could pick, if you didn't have a closed loop, you could pick that whole pentagon here and here, and the top part's just cutting air, so it's not hurting anything. So do that if you need to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the circular feature. Circular feature is going to take this, and you can choose what is the feature you want to circular pattern. It's this one. You can either choose it here by highlighting it on your graphics window, or you can choose it in the browser bar. And once you've chosen the feature, then you're going to tell it, okay, what do I want to circular pattern around? So what is your axis of rotation? And your axis of rotation, you can choose this axis, and we're going to use 24 times. We want to circular pattern that around. I'm going to say okay, and that is your handlebar grip, and so I think it looks pretty cool. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit because we're not going to be needing all of these sketches again. So I'm going to right click and take the visibility off of this, and that makes it look a lot better. We will use very possibly this plane again shortly, so I'm not going to take the visibility off of it. So let me go home, click home, and the next thing that we're going to do is also involving planes. We're going to take our plane and we're going to do an offset plane. There's more than one way to do it. If you do the down arrow here, it tells you a lot of different ways that you can get planes. What we're going to do is an offset. You can click that, or you can just click it here. I'm going to click this surface, and then I'm dragging. I'm doing click and drag, and I'm going to scoot that back negative 13 inches. That, let me look at the front now, you will see is going to be the beginning or the mid section of our handle. We're going to use that. We're going to use that middle part, that mid plane, or what will be a mid plane, because we're going to mirror. We're going to, rather than have to build handlebars on both sides, we're going to build one, and then we're going to mirror it to the other side. So what feature do I want? I'm going to do this part, and I'm going to mirror that across here. And I'm going to say OK. Now we will mirror the grip across. So we're going to come here to mirror, and we're going to choose the features. You can do it feature by feature individually, or you can do the entire solid. I've had some problems in the past doing the whole solid at a time, so I usually try to do individual features, but you can try it both ways. It doesn't matter to me. So I'm going to choose everything that involved that grip, every feature that there is. I can highlight them here, or I could do it in the graphics window. And I want to go across the mirror plane is right here, and I'm going to say OK. And sometimes it takes it a little while for that. Now, let's have a little bit of fun. What we're going to do is we're going to take the revolution here, the grip. I'm going to click this, this, this. I'm holding down Control while I highlight all of that. And I'm going to click Mirror too, so that I've selected all of that. Let's come up here and let's go ahead and change the material, the color of the material. And we're going to change it to black rubber. And so you can change it to a different color if you want. That doesn't matter, but I thought you might enjoy actually going ahead and starting to do that. Now I want us to make the center part for our handlebars. How's it going to come together? So we're going to begin by creating a sketch on this plane. It goes through the center of our handlebars again. So we're going to hit the F7 key. F7 slices graphics, if you remember. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to project the geometry. Almost always when you are creating, working inside a part or on top of a part, you project the geometry. So I need this line, and might as well go ahead and get this one, this line, and this arc. And then I need these ends down here. So I'm projecting the geometry for everything that I think I might be needing down the road. I'm trying to not just pick everything under the sun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm basically going to create an arc that's going to go from here to right here. And I'm just going to pull it down, and I can see I've hit the tangent symbols. So I'm going to stop right there. If you don't get that, then all you need to do is just put it on there. So if you had an arc, in fact, I'll delete that last one. I'll put it back on there and show you how you would do it. You can click the end point here and the end point right there and pull it down. The tangent symbol did not come up, so I'm going to force it. So I'm going to say I want this line segment tangent to this. I want this line segment tangent to that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to do some more arcs. I'm going to take from this one, I'm going to come down, and I'm going to just bend it in slightly. I'm going to do the same thing right here and bend it in slightly. I want those to also be tangent, so I'm going to click here to there and here to here, and I need those to have a dimension from endpoint to endpoint. Our things have all been a diameter of 2, so I'm going to make that be consistent, and I want to make sure those are horizontal to each other. So I'm going to say I want this point and this point horizontal. Did you see it move it slightly? In order to actually, oh, I see this has come loose. So I'm going to say I want coincident between this point and this point. And that made it a little bit strange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it back more like what I want it to be. I need to draw a line across here. It's still not exactly the way that I want it. I'm going to draw that line. And what I want to do is I want to use my vertical constraint. I want to see if I can get a midpoint right there and line that up vertically with the midpoint for this. And that is farther down than I had originally planned. So I'm going to pull it up, and I think that's about the way I would like it. I'm going to pull that back down, and let's put a dimension on there. So I'm going to dimension from I'll go from midpoint here, midpoint of this to this midpoint right here. Let's put a dimension on there, and let's call that 6 inches. And I think that looks pretty good. And so I'm going to finish that sketch. But once I finish that sketch, then I'm going to extrude, and I want to do a mid-plane extrusion. I want it to be 2 inches total, and I want half of it in. Now that we have our extrusion here, we need it to be cylindrical or rounded off at least. So once again, we're going to use our fillet feature. We want to use a radius of 1 right here. Click and make that a radius of 1. And now you're going to choose the edges that you want to round off. I want to round off this one, and this one, and this one on the front. And then we're going to choose this corner right here, and it's going to spin around so that we can choose the same arcs on the back side. So here, here, and here. And when I say OK, and I go back home, you can see we have our at least start to our handlebars. We will add a little bit more editing to it, but we are about there.